Hello friends, you can log on to primeaptacademy.com to access complete free video courses. So I see the data over here. The graph above shows data about revenue and profit of 5 companies. So these are the 5 companies from A to E. Revenue is in blue, profit is in this orange. Just to take an example, for company A, the revenue in 2023 was $5.8 million and the profit was $1.45 million. Alright. Now we'll move on to the question. Which company has the highest profit percentage? So profit percentage is what? Profit upon revenue into 100. So it is profit upon revenue into 100. So for company A, profit is what? 1.45. Revenue is 5.8. So it is 1.45 upon 5.8 into 100. If you calculate out, that will be 25. So here profit percentage is 25%. By the same logic, if you calculate for company B, it is 40%. For company C, it is 10%. For company D, it is 22%. And for company E, it is 30%. So it is highest for company B, which is 40%. Okay. So answer option B, company B is the right answer here. Okay. Now we look at the next question. It says, if profit percentage of company C becomes equal to the profit percentage of company E, then what will be the profit in $1 million for company C? So profit percentage C becomes equal to E. So for C, the profit percentage is 10%. For E, it is 30%. So if C's profit percentage becomes 30% with the revenue of 7.8, so 10% is 0.78. So 30% will be 3 times this, 3 times 0.78, the profit in dollar amount. Okay, because if it is 10%, the profit is 0.78 millions. So if it is 30%, it will be 0.78 into 3. So 0.78 into 3 is 2.34. So $2.34 million over here is the right answer. Now we look at the next question again. It says expense of a company is given by the following formula. Expense is revenue minus profit. What is the difference in expense of companies having the highest expense and the lowest expense? Round off the answer to the nearest integer. So expense is, so what is the expense? Expense over here is revenue minus profit. So now, just writing 30% here, just keeping the profit percentage written over here because that might help us in other question also. So over here, what is the expense? Over here, that is 14 minus 4.2. This is $9.8 million. This is the expense. Okay. Here the expense is 10 minus 2.2. 10 minus 2 is 8. 8 minus 0.2 is 7.8. So it is 7.8. If you look at it, I am just worried for looking for the highest expense and the lowest expense. So 9.8 should be the highest expense. None of them can go beyond 9.8 in terms of expense. Now lowest expense will be this one, 3.4 minus 1.36. Because if you look at it, 5.8 minus 1.45 will also be greater than this 3.4 minus 1.36. So this is the lowest expense in terms of expense. So that will be 3.40 minus 1.36. So 10 minus 6 is 4. Then 3 minus 3 is 0. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. This is 2.04. This expense over here is 2.04. What we need to find is the difference between them. What is the difference between the expense of companies having the highest expense, which is 9.80, minus the lowest expense, which is 2.04. Okay, 9.80 minus 2.04. So that comes out to be 10 minus 4 is 6. This is 7 and this is 7. 7.76. You have to round off the answer to the nearest integer. So nearest integer rounding off will make it 8. 7.76 is rounded to 8. So 8 over here is the right answer. Okay. Now finally we'll look at this question. It says expense ratio is given by the formula. Expense ratio is expense upon revenue. So expense we know is what? Expense is revenue minus profit. So I can write this as expense as revenue minus profit divided by revenue. Okay, this can be further written as revenue upon revenue, which is 1 minus profit upon revenue. 1 minus profit upon revenue. And what is profit upon revenue? In terms of percentage, that is the profit percentage. That is what we have already calculated, and that is what we have written at the top of the bar. Okay. So if you look at it, if the profit percentage is 25%, profit upon revenue will be 0.25. Okay, in terms of decimal value it is 0.25. Here it is in terms of decimal value it is 0.4. Alright. So if I know the profit percentage, I can also find out the expense ratio easily. Okay, because that is nothing but 1 minus this. We have to find that which of the companies has the highest expense ratio. So the company having the lowest profit percentage will have the highest expense ratio. So now looking at the option, company having the lowest profit percentage, which is 10%, the lowest profit percentage has the highest expense ratio, because expense ratio is nothing but 1 minus profit percentage. So answer, company C is the correct answer over here, because company C has the lowest profit percentage, thus it will have the highest expense ratio. Alright, so this is how you solve this set on data interpretation.